everyone. My name is Nicole and I'm the Director of Education at Project Grows, and today we're launching a new video series so that you can learn at home about farming, gardening, and plant identification so that we can continue our mission of improving the health of kids, but do it virtually during this time since so many of us are homebound. So I'm so excited about our first episode today. Before we get started, we're going to go over two things. The first one is that we're going to be encouraging you to go outside and experience some of what we're doing, and you can do this in your own backyard or in your neighborhood or on your own street. But something to know is that you need to check in with your family before you go outside. You may have some new family rules at this time that you need to be aware of, as well as so many of the health recommendations that we're hearing about right now. We want to be recommending and modeling those for you. So remembering to keep 6 feet distance from people. Let's make sure we practice those together. And then the second thing that we want to talk about is sort of taking some time when you go outside with us to do some of these activities, just taking time to breathe. This is kind of a stressful time. You might be feeling some feelings of fear or confusion maybe, and this is a great time to just kind of focus on breathing and being mindful of what you're feeling and being present to those feelings. So we're going to start every video with some sort of breathing exercise. So if you're watching and you are wanting to do this with me, let's do it together, okay? So if you can give me a thumbs up, okay? We're going to identify a flower and a candle. So figure out which one you want each thumb to be, okay? And together, let's smell our flower, okay? So we're going to smell our flower, and then we're going to blow out our candle. Let's do that again, okay? So let's smell our flower, and then we're going to blow out our candle. And you can do that as many times as you want. It'll help you kind of just take a second to breathe. Also be aware of how beautiful it is outside. This is a great time to get outside, a great time to learn new things, and especially right here at the beginning of spring, learning about some things that we can see growing and blooming at this time. So what is our topic for today? Today we're going to be asking the question, what is growing in my backyard? And not just my backyard, but your backyard. So I'm going to teach you 6 different plants that I found in my backyard that are considered weeds. And then after you watch this video, you can look at our scavenger hunt that we're going to put with the video, and then you can see if you can find some of those things too. So let's go see what we can find. The first flower that we're gonna, or the first plant that we're gonna look at today is dandelion. And I chose this one because it's pretty common and you might know it, you might have seen it before. So let's take a look at this. Dandelion is a really common plant that you might see in your backyard. It kind of has these pointed leaves, and then it has a really distinct flower that comes up, and it has those really cool seed heads that you can make a wish and blow later on in the summer. It's considered a weed, and what is a weed? A weed is just a plant that's growing in the wrong place. So it's a plant that kind of takes over your garden. And they're undesirable for that reason. But a lot of weeds also have medicinal values, which means they can be used for medicine, or culinary value, which means they can be used in cooking, or you can eat them. They're edible. So dandelion is one of those. It's used in medicine, and it can be used in cooking as well. So it's not all bad. So that's one of them. Let's go see another one. Okay, so this is another common weed or plant that's considered a weed. You want to get close to that so you can see it. This is called common mallow, and it's recognizable because of kind of those circular looking leaves. It grows in areas where soil has been disturbed. Later on in the season, it'll have really cute little white flowers with light pink stripes inside that you'll see. And you can often find this growing out of the cracks in the sidewalk. So that's kind of a fun one to know. All right, you guys ready for the next one? Number 3. Okay, so this is my favorite one. This is called purple dead nettle. So it's not related to stinging nettle, but it does have the name nettle because it looks similar to it. It's called dead nettle because it doesn't actually sting you like stinging nettle would. So let's take a close look at this plant because it's really similar to the next one I'm going to show you. So to me, this plant looks like a pagoda, which is a building that you might see in Korea or Japan or China that has tiered kind of layers with many different roofs. This is a really cool plant that we see blooming in the spring, and sometimes you can see it take over like a whole yard or like a whole field. And the way that I identify it is that if you kind of step back for a second from it, so if you want to zoom out and show us, the prevailing color that you see is kind of like a vibrant purple. Do you see how it kind of, I mean, it's green for sure, but it kind of has this, the color of the flowers is this kind of vibrant purple, or even like a little pink, but then the tops, the leaves, are kind of like a dark purple. So that's why you can remember that it's called purple dead nettle. This is an important plant for honeybees early in the spring when there's not a lot of things blooming. And this one actually has edible tops and leaves too. I've never tried it myself, but I am told that it is edible. So that's plant number 3. Let's take a look at plant number 4, which is often confused with it. So if you want to come around and show them what this looks like. So this one is called henbit dead nettle. So this one was purple dead nettle, and this is henbit. It looks very similar, but it kind of has a different structure. So we talked about this one looking like a pagoda. I think that this one looks different because the leaves kind of occur at different levels on the stem all at once. So I kind of like to think about it like this. So our purple dead nettle kind of looks like that pagoda structure, and the henbit kind of, I don't know, I think this looks maybe like different levels of a building, and then you can take an elevator ride up to the top where the flowers are, if that makes sense. And then for this one, this also can take over a whole yard. But if you step back and look at it, the color is a little more bright pink. This is purple, this is a little more pink. So this is a new one that I learned this year, and it's called corn speedwell. I actually don't know a ton about this one yet, but I do know that it kind of takes over. It creeps, as you might say, and if you can look real close, you can see the color of the flower. So let's just pick this right here. The flower is really tiny. I don't know, would you say that's purple or blue? I'm not quite sure. But it will bloom when it's sunny outside, and then we've noticed since it's gotten a little sunnier throughout the day, they've started opening up a little bit, but they were closed when we came at first. The color of this is nice and light green, and then it grows on these long stems. That's a very common one that you can probably find in your backyard too. So I wanted to show you that one first because it has a really different look than this one. And this is called ground ivy. I actually learned this one as gill over the ground. And this one is actually in the mint family. It's a low growing mint. So if you rub the flowers, actually kind of smells like mint. But let's take a look at these flowers because they're really, really different. These flowers are definitely more of a purple hue. They don't grow on those as long of stems as the other ones, and I think the flowers have a more interesting shape. This one is a little harder to find, but you might be able to find it growing in your backyard. Okay, well, thanks guys for joining me. We have a scavenger hunt that we're gonna put with the video so that you guys can go in your street or your yard and look for these plants. We'd love to hear from you. Please share. If you can find these, take pictures. We would also encourage you to use a website called iNaturalist. It's a citizen science website where you can upload pictures of the things that you find, and then other people can help you identify them, and then scientists can let you know if you got it right. So that's a great source for pictures of things that you might be able to find. But I think it's time for me to do some gardening, so I'm gonna rip out some of these weeds and get started with planting. See you guys later.